Hi, I'm not high yet, but I'm working on it. I decided to start. This is my third time trying to make this video about Thanksgiving and counting your blessings. And I've realized that it's very hard for me. Well, I know this, but it's hard to articulate. So if there's anybody else out there who has CPTSD and is dealing with healing trauma, know that I feel you or your pain, you and your pain, in emotional sense. I like the holiday because, first of all, it's a day off from work. It's not a religious holiday, and I usually get to spend it with a friend who comes over, and we enjoy a lovely dinner and chat and background music. And then I watch, either rewatch or I watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which is such a sweet movie, and it's very funny, and I need funny. Um, but I've done Thanksgiving on my own. And yes, I'll call it Thanksgiving because that's what I try to celebrate is life, even though it's very hard for me as someone with chronic suicidal ideation, someone who would rather not be here. But it's because it's passive, I'm here and trying to make the best of a bad situation. Yeah, I watched my last two attempts at this video and I was really high when I started. And which, yes, is the point of these videos. Not really high, but high enough to talk and be silly. But seriously, holidays are hard for a lot of people. They're hard for me. But every day is hard for me and for everyone else dealing with chronic illness, chronic pain, having no biological family, um, to celebrate with. Um, I mean, I have two family members, but one of them doesn't celebrate any holidays because she's a Jehovah's Witness. That's where her severely unhealed trauma took her. Excuse me, I have my hot herbal chai. I'm going to not forget that I have. And then my mother is, with her severely unhealed trauma, is, as far as I know, she's now caretaker for her miserable third husband who had a stroke the day after I told him off. He started it, and it's true. I just spoke the truth. And it rocked his world. He was in horrible shape anyway. Happy Thanksgiving, people, because I want to get this out before the holiday. Um, but yeah, like I said, for people with trauma, whatever healing stage they're in, holidays can be rough. And when everyone's talking about fine things to be thankful for, I don't find that easy, except that I have been trying, not trying, I have been, when I go to bed at night, excuse me, I have been saying to myself when I lie down, I may have said this in another video, a much earlier video, but I say, what happy and healthy or positive things happened to me today, or did I experience today? Because I have to put in the effort to, or to notice, to be aware of those moments. And usually it's the same things. I have my little routine in the morning, and routine is good in many ways. And mine includes loving Lily Bell, who usually comes in either to wake me up or soon after I've done my coffee yoga while I'm waiting for my water to boil, which are four poses that I do while I'm waiting. I should probably mix those up every once in a while. But again, it's a routine. And I've been doing more PM yoga, like mat yoga, after work and before I go to bed, because I hold a lot of stress in my body, as a lot of people with um, CPTSD, anxiety do. And and of course I journal every morning, and I have that with my coffee, because now I'm back to having coffee in the morning. But I do have my teas at lunchtime at work, and then I have them at night as well. I was going to do that green tea in the morning instead of coffee, but this time of year, when it's getting darker, I need my coffee in the morning. I'm addicted to my coffee. Let's go that way. My Trader Joe's instant coffee. Yes, I love wonderful coffee as much as the next person, but that works for me right now in the living situation I'm in, which is a lovely living situation. Um, but it's one less thing I have to do with my hands, and that's the thing. I woke up this morning. All right, let's backtrack even further. Um, Voters for Animal Rights, which is here in New York City, um, in which I in which I support, if not monetarily, but I support and I follow what they're fighting for, and they're fighting for on a lot of fronts because animals are in peril, and I'm not discounting human animals because we are animals too, human beings. I'm not discounting them at all. In fact, it causes me much. I'm triggered. I try to walk to work, or at least one way when I go to work. First of all, to save money on the almost $3 and will soon be $3 subway fare, and for a horrible subway system. I mean, I'm thankful to have public transportation, but it's antiquated, and despite the budget they seem to have, nothing really gets fixed or updated. Um, I had to watch as I was leaving my station one evening. I had to watch a man get out by himself, get out of his wheelchair. He was missing both legs, either below or above the knee. And I had to see him because the elevator has been broken and is always breaking. And one of our cajillion, I think it's considered, New York City's subway system is considered so good because of its breadth, how far you can go from it. Though I still think it needs to go farther in Queens. Queens is huge, and I've never been there, but it feels like my friends who live in that area, the commute is just buses and trains and ferries, and it's just a 2-hour commute in New York City. That should be unheard of, except that, and this is what funnily enough, this is what I'm thankful for and grateful for, is that I realized that probably like a lot of other cities, especially big cities in this country, our city government is corrupt. I'm not saying everybody is. I hope the person I voted for, who is going to be mayor, isn't. He doesn't seem to be, which is why I have a good feeling about him, Mandami. And but it seems like a lot are. It's funny. I Googled Cuomo's career and in specifically Cuomo's career, in his career, and our present governor, Hochul, whatever her name is, and just to look up whether homelessness has decreased, because these were both Democrats, which is another thing I'm grateful for, is that I realize that Democrats are just the establishment Democrats. These are the career Democrats. Who was mentioning? Oh, it was that Chris Hedges was mentioning how uh, the Democrats for the past 30, 40 years have been about decorum and keeping the peace for trade agreements, blah, 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 blah. And not really, you know, not saying, it seems like it's the more, as people say, radical, as in, I don't think of wanting full 100% bodily autonomy as a radical idea. Nor do I think that every person and animal, I'm just going to differentiate that way right now. I think that each person and animal deserves a safe, clean home and access to clean, fresh water and healthy, not expensive foods that everyone can afford, and an excellent work balance. What I'm basically wanting is Finland in America. And I feel that Monami is going to, it wants those same things. He's a socialist Democrat. And the Republicans would have you think that socialism uh, is the devil and has never worked here, when actually there have been socialist mayors in places such as, I think, Milwaukee, like Middle America, back in the teens, the 19s, the early 1900s, around that time. So socialism, and of course around the world, socialism has been part of our world's history. And like any, I consider myself a half-Earth socialist. And if you want to know more about that, there's a book called Half Earth Socialism, and we'll explain everything to you if you're interested in that. I actually, it's funny. Uh, we're into, everything is labeled, which is another issue I have. But we have to label everything, and I don't know quite. I guess the gummies are kicking in because I can't remember. Even when they haven't nearly kicked in, I still can't remember exactly what I was going to say. But and I got off track. So last night, our New York City Council refused to hear about writer's law, which is a law that many people, including Voters for Animal Rights, VAFR, wait, that's not VFAR, who I will try to support monetarily more, but I am supporting other important causes to my heart, and I can only do so much. I have CPTSD, and I don't feel like you ever completely heal from trauma. At least I don't feel like I'm ever going to completely heal from it, especially not in the society that we have here in the United States. It's not meant to grow happy, healthy people. It wants consumers. It wants people thinking scarcity. It wants people thinking, this is mine, not yours. No sharing, no connection, isolated from everyone else. The lone cowboy myth, all those John Wayne movies and Jane Fonda movies, Henry Fonda movies, or Gary Cooper films. That's embedded in us deeply within the foundation of white people's America, specifically the Republican Party, has really pushed for that. Remember Reagan? And let me tell you, he was another president. He was an 8-year, a two-timer, and he was a horrible president. He was wonderful for Republicans, for rich people, but he was horrible for everybody else. And he probably had dementia the last couple of years. And I'm not poking fun at that. I'm just saying that he should not have been running this country. I'm sorry, if you have dementia, you should not be running the country. And now I'm getting to the point where if you have a dick, you should not be running the country, because who has been running this world since the beginning? Since we've been around? Men. There's been a queen here and there, but come on. And of course, these kings and queens were just feudal lords who decided, hey, let's make up that God said we were appointed by him and had special godlike powers and should be given godlike powers. And you repeat something enough, even back then, like Fox News, and the people, well, and plus they would just slaughter people and fight over land, because that's what boys do. They fight and they lie. I'm talking about people, men, not all men in politics, but in the history of our geopolitical landscape. It's been wars to fight for land, to fight now for oil, to fight for. In Vietnam, we should never have been there. And I think we could have gone war-free had we embraced matriarchy instead of patriarchy. And again, I'm getting off the subject. But so I thought I had enough time to call these, because Voters for Animal Rights sent a list of the council members who would not hear, refused to hear, and came up with, I can't remember, I did not read because I was so angry. I was at work when I read about this, and I was very unhappy. And I discussed it with my vegan friend, because I had sent him this list to call these council members to reiterate how we need to pass this law. Our current mayor, who has done a lot of, bad things, capitulated with Trump, which was the worst. He did a couple of good things, because he became plant-based. I don't know his journey with that, except that he became plant-based. He was very overweight. I don't know if that was while he was police chief. I'm sure being a police chief or police officer in general, the stress of that job would cause you to not eat very well. Just the nature of the job. But nobody eats really well. Most people don't eat very well, or eat worse than they think they do. Because people are still dying. The number one killer in America is a completely preventable disease. And it's still killing the most people every year in America. And it's moving. The Western diet, is colonizing other countries. And so even places like China, where billions of people have spent their whole lives, including women, eating soy, and lots of soy. And they had some of the lowest breast cancer rates in the world. But now that the Western diet has infiltrated the rest of the world, because it's so cheap, but it's not really cheap, because the people who make that food, which is a lot of animal product laden food, they get, because animal agriculture, they get all the subsidies. Check out the fruit and vegetable subsidy, and then check it next to the subsidy number that the agricultural industry gets. It's the wealthiest lobby. And of course, it's brothers. It's because I think of them all as men, white men. And yeah, I'm going to say it. because it is mostly white men. I mean, our country was founded by slave-owning white men of means. And our Constitution didn't include women, it didn't include people of color, it didn't include anyone but some men. And so when people talk of the sanctity of the Constitution and how it can't be amended or, whatever, except that it excludes the vast majority of, including the people we took this country from. We got something else. Just a bunch of like Viking rapists and marauders, pillagers. And hey, I have found, not personally, but through my through 23andMe, they have found bones from my ancestors. Viking bones I derive from. I am descended very distantly, obviously, but from Vikings. So, and of course, my father, Alfred Solomon Perry III, Happy Thanksgiving, Dad, was a rapist and child abuser. So the apple does not fall far from the tree, even millennia later. And I'm sure he wasn't the only one, but he's the only one that I know of and who sought to, didn't care whether, he was a rapist and a child abuser, so nothing more needs to be said. And trying to like quantify that, that's enough. And now he's dead, and I'm glad. So happy Thanksgiving. This is just going out the way it is. This is not going to be a Hallmark card. But they refused to even discuss having a hearing about, even though, 74%, which I would say is the majority of New York City citizens, are overwhelmingly in favor of passing Ryder's Law, which would ban horse-driven carriages in New York City, which is antiquated, it's cruel. I'm against riding horses for any reasons. Horses, like most animals, are wild. They should remain wild. And if you want to learn more about how our country deals with the wild horses that remain, just look up the Bureau for Land Management. And then some of my favorite sanctuaries, Sky Dog Sanctuary and equine advocates who take in horses from auctions. These people, and this is what I'm thankful for, because as angry as I get about the state of our world, of our city, of our neighborhood, and the injustice that I see every day in little and large ways, and it took 2 gummies last night, and I did an angry video, kind of like this one, but it seemed funnier at the time. But then I deleted it by accident, so I didn't even get a chance. I couldn't find the volume on it, and it turns out that when my laptop system updated the last time, it added this phone link thing, and it's like I couldn't get out of it. It downloaded it, so I had to go Google how to, if not uninstall it, keep it from running, because it was, so I did a second video, and I think it was like 52 minutes. I'm making progress, people. And I didn't put on my timer, but I will keep track. I will keep the track good. I will keep track as best I can. But it took 2 gummies and doing that video. And I wasn't even that upset. Well, because I was on gummies too. That I had deleted that video, even though it was the stupid phone link thing that was fucking with, I was trying to get my phone connected to my laptop. I don't want that. I don't even know what that is. I don't care. And so, but IT must be because I'm, I rewatch IT Crowd, a show that I am very thankful for, because it makes me laugh, which I really need in this world, which we all really need. I was hearing a song, and I said this in one of my 2 last attempts at making this video. I have another attempt, my first attempt. And we will see which one wins after I finish this one and I rewatch that one. Because I thought that one was a little, like I said, if you have CPTSD, chronic suicidal ideation, and are working full time because you can't get disability for the moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis, which is a debilitating progressive disease, for which my insurance company keeps denying me the medication that keeps me from being a ball of pain. I have been that way at times. I've been in the fetal position on the floor in pain. That was 6 weeks without any medication. That's our healthcare system, and it's not a healthcare system. And I saw a meme that I really liked, and it was a 50s, it looked like something out like a 50s ad. The perfect family, the perfect 50s family. And of course, in the little bubbles, mom's like, where's my Xanax? Where are my happy pills? And the daughter's like, please don't beat me. And the father's like, give me my drink. It's just, the perfect family has never existed. It could never exist. But first of all, we're humans. And we are inherently imperfect. But because we live under a system that wants this unhealth, wants this, that isn't even a word, so they are beginning, wants us unhappy, and but just unhappy enough to choose the booze or choose and I'm going to even add the gummies too, because I'm absolutely using them to help me get through this time, just as I'm using Klonopin, which is a benzo. So if they want us to go back to the 50s, I'm already there. I take Klonopin, not Xanax, but they're benzos. So see, nothing has changed. It wasn't better back then, and it sure as hell isn't better now. It's like we've gone back to that time that everybody's taking. Mine are prescribed, and I'm a very responsible benzo taker. I wonder where they got them. I guess their doctors gave it to them, because women were just hysterical. They wouldn't say like, oh, you sit at home all day wearing a dress and heels while having to scrub toilets and after you clean the house for the 10th time and have nothing else to do, because you're not living your dreams. You're doing what society expected of you. And I hate to say that in a way, that puts the blame on women. I don't want to do that. That society made you think you had to do, taught you was the right thing to do. And I know it sounds like I'm so ungrateful, but I'm grateful that I am unlearning all the shit they taught us. And it's infuriating, yes. Like, I was so upset about that last night. And I told my vegan coworker friend about it, and he wrote me back and he was like, this is infuriating. And so that, because it helps, because I feel like I can't discuss these types of things about which I'm passionate with most of the people in my life, because they just don't get it. Because, not that they're not compassionate, but they're blocked in certain ways to think certain ways and have certain feelings about who deserves compassion and how much compassion and who's here for us, and nobody's here for us. No being is here for us. Thank you, Charles Eisenstein. Though he keeps, I've noticed in the books, he might be a mediator. It's probably a mediator. But he keeps calling, now this was 10 years ago. These books were like at least 10 years ago. Not that like I said, they're completely relevant to what's going on today. The man is, because he's still with us, and he still has a YouTube channel. And he prophesied all these things. He wasn't the only one, but I think it was Joyful Vegan. It may have been Colleen Patrick Goudreau who put me on, not personally, but she had written something and discussed on one of her videos or one of her writings. She's a wonderful writer too, because she has books out that I recommend people read. Joyful Vegan and her new Zero Waste one, because she kind of got me into the zero waste thing. So did my friend Elle upstate. I want to thank her too, because it's funny, because she's like, when we became friends through work, like I said, I will make friends outside work because I'm so exhausted. I stay at home. Actually, really enjoy my solitude, and I'm thankful that I'm embracing that. It's the reason I have few friends, but the friends I have, you couldn't have better friends. And they understand that I need my time. And actually, my friends need that time too. We're like connected. We're in synchronicity, like the Peace album. So he was angry about it, and I thought, okay, I'm going to walk home because I definitely need to pick up gummies tonight. And I tried to I did my walking meditation as I was walking home, which is where I count from 1 to 10. Each breath is 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, and then ascending and descending, ascending and descending. And it does help, because I thought that the walk would help burn off some of the anger and allow me to calm down enough to gain perspective, which I have been gaining. I'm still angry. Before I came on here, I had my earbuds in, listening to music, and Marilyn Manson's Beautiful People came on, and I never felt more seen. And I listened to that song for about 4 times. Because, and I think that song's about religion, which of course is another institution, deeply flawed and made up institution that's destroying this country, I believe. That in concert with, listen to me, in concert with capitalism and the patriarchy. They're all bedmates. See, like Teresa said, everybody's gay. It kicked in. And I have Trixie to be thankful for. I'm thankful for her, and I'm thankful for her wonderful foil. I don't know if that's the right term, but the yang to her yin, Katya. Because Katya keeps it real. Trixie does too, but Katya just has this. And I love learning that she eats oatmeal, like loaded oatmeal in the morning, like I do. That made me add. She's struggled. I think she's mostly smoke free, well, because she became a spokesperson, I think, for a smoking cessation drug or something, or patches or whatever, or program. It might have been program. It was not chemically related, because I don't know if she could do that or would do that, because she is in recovery from her addictions, which I think is not the, like, remember me talking about how that's pretty much why I ended my friendship with like she was like my soulmate to me as a child. But when I heard her say that, and this was 12, 15 years ago, and when she said she was a mother, not even, I hate to say that, because mothers work, even if they're staying at home with their kids, that's more than a full-time job, believe me. Because you're not doing just their laundry, you're doing your husband or your wife's laundry, your partner's laundry, or whatever. Or you're a single mother and you're doing everything. Anyway, but when she said that weed was a gateway drug, having been a founder, co-founder of the Pi Omega Tau sorority at her university, and introducing me to a 4-foot bong, which laid me out for the night, which a 4-foot bong would do to someone who has. That was probably my first time. I may have puffed on a DB once or twice, but I was a cigarette girl. Ooh, that's a great drag name, Cigarette Girl. Oh, all the costumes. I was thinking, Edward Hopper's painting about with cigarette. The it's a movie theater, and the woman standing with her. I think it was candy. She probably back then didn't smoke anyway, so she was probably selling cigarettes too. And it may have been called Cigarette Girl or movie theater attendant. I don't know what it's called, but it's a very famous painting, and it made me think of that. It would make a great, in fact, I think Trixie almost wore that kind of outfit once. I would swear, because it's almost like a bib type thing. Not this kind of bib, but like an overall type thing, but feminine. With the short, because this is the 30s or 40s, that short, blousy shorts, dress shorts, I guess you would call them today. I'm really going off the rails today, but see, it's making me feel better. So, anyway, now that I've spoken Edward Hopper's name, I can get on and appreciating his, and see how his art too is also very commercial looking in a way, which is weird. Because you could see, like I said, I saw that art and it reminded me, and it came to mind when I was thinking, just, so it's funny how there are these threads of connection. Here I just called myself Cigarette Girl because that's what I did 25 years, smoke cigarettes. Much more so than I smoked weed. And it took me back to Edward Hopper and that wonderful painting. Anyway, that's pretty much why our friendship ended. I just realized that she had chosen a path, growing in her own way, and I'm not saying it's a bad way. It was just not the way I was going. I was going this way. It didn't even have to be that far off. So most people would think I'm very radical, if not a nut job. And if it's radical to want, like I said, all the things, justice to be served, and competent leadership, humane leadership, empathetic, connection-driven leadership, a trustworthy, honest. And these things seem so radical. It's like there's no way we can ever do that. There certainly is a way we can do that. We can all just live that way. We can. I have done that. I improved with that. Of course, it's not a completely role, but a lot of people need therapy. The meme? I'm going back to the memes, even though I should say that I am taking an IG break. It got too much. I was only going to do it like Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. But I was becoming overwhelmed by all the pain and suffering, even that I saw, even on Instagram. Because I follow a lot of farm sanctuaries, and I follow Voters for Animal Rights and animal rights organizations, and they show the terrible stuff, and they tell the bad stories. Sentient media, who I have a lot of respect for, but I have to take a break. Between living in this city, which already triggers me every day, I didn't take that into account when I moved here. But I'd lived in a city before. It was a smaller city, but I thrived there until I didn't, because of the Affordable Care Act, which bankrupted me, because of the autoimmune diseases that I developed as a result of my childhood abuse from my rapist, child abusing father. But you know what? I am thankful that I can say that. I've gotten to the point where I can say that. And say that in public, as public as 12 subscribers is. And I'm grateful for all of you. Don't take that as a read or anything. But I also want this for posterity. I want to look back and see who and what I was saying, who I was and what I was saying, and who I've grown into and continuing to grow. Like I said, it's a journey. I will always say it that way. And a better world is possible. Like I said, I got my library to order a copy of this book, which is what I need to be reading right now. But I have to still finish the Age of, what was it called? The Age of Ascendancy. The Ascent of Humanity. I was close, which is very good, but it's dense in the fact that there's a lot of, my mind's just blown as I'm reading. Like, I know a lot of it, like I sensed a lot of it, but he articulates it very well. And, but I'm grateful that I've come across those books, because knowing that this guy, Charles Eisenstein, plus all these people who organized, created the Voters for Animal Rights, and all of these animal organizations, and not just animal rights organizations, but women's rights organizations, and immigrants' rights, and anyone who is fighting for the greater good, for justice to prevail. And I have to remember that there are a lot of people out there doing the drudge work. They're going door to door and getting doors slammed in their face, and they're making flyers, and they're trying to find donors, and they're trying to find, like, people who own, who run, I don't even like to call it own, but I guess they own it, yes, and run animal sanctuaries. They are constantly having to beg, because it's heartbreaking for them not to take these animals in, and they become overrun with animals who need saving. Just like when I walk to or from work each day, even if I take the train, I just come across, and it's a lot of times it's the same. There used to be a couple of homeless guys I saw, and one I haven't seen in a couple of years now. He was there every day, so you wonder. And so I see the same homeless people, and then I see new homeless people, and I see homeless people with their dogs. And having been homeless myself, it's extremely triggering, even with my chronic one, and all the other holistic things I do to try to combat, just, it's violent language, but to try to not take it all so personally, and not let it affect me to the extent that I'm of no good to anyone, including myself, because letting it drag me down into the depths of despair, which it has done, it doesn't help me. It doesn't help anyone else. The people and the animals whom I want to rescue and save and help, and speak up for, including myself. I'm a person dealing with disability. It's not taken seriously. CPTSD is not even in our medical Bible, with the American Medical Association Bible. So even my psychiatrist, who knows it's CPTSD, on all the forms it says PTSD. And between that and being an older woman, who, as you become older, you become invisible, Um, it's funny. I feel like women are always just kind of invisible, but it's a different invisible. It's more like you're like when you're young and married, or young and dating, you're visible because they want to have sex with you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then you know what I mean? This thing called sex that I just talked about. Maybe TMI, but I thought things I hear Trixie and Katya talk about, and I love the frankness. It was more off. I don't know if it was ever off-putting. To me, it was. What's the word I'm looking for? It was very freeing to hear them talk so freely, um, because of course, with this current administration, LGBTQIA and trans rights are in dire, you know, everybody's scared because most of us are not these few white men. And so we just know, you know, women have never had equal rights. Um, and I am thankful that I have found ways to fight this system of oppression and, against women, against just about everyone, but some white men. And fetuses, apparently. They love fetuses. It's just once you're born, you will have to pay to breathe and live on this and survive on this earth. You'll have to pay. All that freedom that children have, and you see that lack of that lucky children have. They're just curious and they're open to new things. They're always like looking at new things and seeing things in their own little baby and toddler way. And they love unconditionally. They haven't had that stripped from them at that point. But it happens. That's why you can go from being this little kid who's at a farm or whatever and is loving up on a chicken, or a chicken's falling asleep in his arms. And they're like this. Or to any farmed animal, they're having a sweet moment. And then that gets compartmentalized. And it's okay to eat them and use them and abuse them and treat them in ways that is so diabolical. And except that the white men who own these companies, these corporations, they don't do any of that. They just sit in their offices and count all the subsidies they get. And see, I'm thankful for this knowledge. Who knows how much longer we'll be able to share this knowledge, and through books or through other people that, yes, and social media can be a wonderful way to do that. That's why I'm here, as well as to tell my story, but also how my story is part of the bigger picture. It's not just about me. Like, there was a point where I was thinking, I'm tired of talking about me. I've spent so much of my life just centered on my victimhood. And I was a victim. And I am a victim of that. And my sister is. And my mother is. We're definitely victims of of crimes. But I was thinking, is this getting into, am I really growing from this? But I think I am. But I'm also exploring how it can't, how this even, why this happened. You know, my dad did this. He raped my mother and impregnated her so they would have to marry to get out of fighting in a war. Well, why were we in this war? And why was he so scared to be in this war? Well, we probably know the answer to that. A lot of, it was a deeply unpopular war, and yet we had it. Um, there was a lot of white men who decided that, even though I think a lot of time deep down they were like, "This is 10 years." And I in one of my last IG stories, I did it for Veterans Day actually because, of course, I have the deepest sympathies with families of those who died fighting in wars. Um, because I don't think they should have ever been there. And I think, you know, and of course, the war machine says, of course, we got rid of the draft, but the draft um, took all of the middle and lower middle class who didn't have the means to, Daddy, get me out of this. And let me tell you, I understand not wanting to fight in a war, um, especially a war that you knew is deeply unpopular. All to me, all war is unpopular. I'm not a fan of any war, to tell you the truth. I'm of the opinion. I mean, World War II ended Nazi Germany, and that's a wonderful thing. But I'm saying, why can't we? Why can't we grow into a species who doesn't get to that, where it never gets to that point? And I think we can do it. We just have to change the way money, because I really think money came along, and agriculture. Again, I get a lot of this from Charles Eisenstein, but it makes perfect sense. And he has all the quotes, and he has all the, he's the real deal. He's been on Rich Roll's podcast. So there you go. And I think he was on Oprah too. So it has Oprah's. Like I said, I think I said in another article, another episode. Like, I don't know how much good it did her. No real shame. I don't know her. I'm sure she does good. I don't know. She's a consumerist and she's a capitalist, and I can see very clearly. Well, first of all, because she's a woman of color, um, she's she's had to fight battles that I will never know, and still fight, I'm sure. Um, I don't really know where I was going with this, but anyway, just to say that he's not a guru, and I'm just saying that highly respected, because Oprah Winfrey's been a highly respected newscaster and whatever television personality, yeah, talk show host. I totally forgot about the how many years did she do that talk show. But it got goofy. It got Gwyneth goofy. And I also realized it's selling stuff. And it's selling stuff to look different than we look now. And like I said, it's capitalism, and we were programmed to be consumers, to consume. And so everything had to have a price. You just can't consume everything without somebody getting something from it. So that's exactly how we used to live. And like I said, he calls it the hunter-gatherer, the hunter-gatherer societies. But I believe through other sources, that it is really more gatherer-hunter societies, or as many gatherer-hunter societies than hunting-gathering. It's not like they were living off, just truckloads of meat. Anyway, so that's one thing, and I wonder if you would change that nowadays. Not that it's a big thing, but I notice it every time he mentions hunter gatherers and the life they live, and how much more reverence for the earth and for the animals too. They were not killing in excess because there was no way to refrigerate it. I guess you could cure it or whatever. But they didn't stay. A lot of them were nomadic, and they didn't carry a lot with you. You didn't keep stuff because you were constantly giving to others in your community, and then they either returned it. It was called shit, can I say it? Reciprocity. It was a big thing. You should feel guilty for not giving back. It doesn't have to be to that person though. You give it to somebody else who needs it, the one most in need. And obligation. And I'm so thankful that I've learned that there is a more beautiful world possible if we only. There would have to be a revolution where we just said we've had enough. Whether it's a general strike, and I know that's a huge undertaking and it probably seems impossible, but it's not. It is possible. We just have to want it bad enough and get off our cell phones and take our earbuds out. I love my earbuds as much as the next person, but I set limits, healthy limits for me on those because I know how easy it is. And I would love sometimes, because I see too much every day on these streets in the city, walking by empty buildings and there are people passed out on the street, freezing in the street, sweltering in the heat in the streets, some with their animal companions, and we just walk by every day. Why do we keep walking by and doing nothing when there's so much power we have? Why couldn't we just all gather? You know what I'm saying? Give peace a chance. This is, and for someone who has a really hard time and has to make a habit of finding good things in her life, things to be thankful for, because I have a lot not to be thankful for. And I think we all do, because I think we're all living with, like I said, trauma, which a lot of people's trauma will be triggered over the holidays with family. And this is what's so nice and about which I'm grateful is this holiday. It's just a friend of mine and I sharing a meal. We're going to order it because I didn't even get to the part in that time. So, oh my God, it's almost an hour. I'll stop this for now and pick it up another time. But another world is possible. And for someone like me, with the way my mind thinks, I'm very thankful because it's very easy for me to forget that. And it's easy for me to forget that there are an awful lot of people, not enough, but a lot of people working very hard to make this world the world that I think could be made if we all just, like I said, it's hard. I know it's hard, but we can do it. This is hard. This life I'm living and most of us living is really, really hard. Do we want to just continue this really, really hard, or do we want to really work hard at something so much better? And that's my Thanksgiving wish. Thank you, Charles Eisenstein, for inspiration for talking about that. And yeah, we're gonna have dinner. I'm gonna find a good instrumental jazz playlist. I don't know if she's gonna watch it, but I will watch Planes, Trains, and Automobile. That's my movie of the week. That's, well, not everyone's, but a lot of people love that film, and rightly so. It's a lovely film, and I feel like John Candy did in that film. Um, and you're sorely missed, John Candy, just to say. But I'm also going to recommend The Best Years of Our Lives, because it deals with both things: being thankful and grateful, gratitude and thanks, along with the recently passed Veterans Day. And it's a wonderful film. If it has Myrna Loy in it, it's a wonderful film, and you better fucking watch it. And I'm gonna find a great jazzy um, album, instrumental album. Though I'm sure everybody's got playlists, but um, I've been listening to some good stuff, and so I want to recommend maybe one of those two, because I started re-listening the Until the End of the World soundtrack, and I realized on YouTube Music that the soundtrack actually doesn't have all the songs you had, but I had tagged a playlist where somebody made the whole album from a playlist. Isn't that weird? That some that like half the songs weren't available on the actual soundtrack, but on the playlist you could make up the entire. So I have to re-listen to it again. It's really good. It almost makes me want to watch the film again, but that's over 4 hours. But that soundtrack, if you hadn't listened to that, that was one of my picks several weeks. Gosh, it's been a while now. 3 months back, not that long, a couple months back. Um, it's a really good soundtrack, and but I also started listening to Billie Holiday, and I think she might be my choice. Um, kind of like my title. It's hard for me to count my blessings, but I've been trying to, and and trying to be a blessing to others as well. And I know that sounds, I don't care. That's the way it sounds. I want to be a blessing to others. That's what I want to do. More and more so into the next year. Just other ways I can be, and also retain my sanity. It's hard. And so I feel for anyone going through this time of year. But if you are able to watch something that inspires you, or listen to music that inspires you, it just makes you feel good, or makes you feel sad, but not sad enough to do anything terrible. But just, we shouldn't always try to like run away from the sad. The sad is there to tell us something. We just want to be healthy about it. And so, and music is wonderful with that. I love sad music. I just don't want people, you know. I'm able to hear that music without. Well, no, not quite. Well, the Beautiful People, Marilyn Manson, she made me want to like start a riot out in the street, a peaceful riot. I will not be doing so, but I would love, 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 and I don't know how I would ever be able to do it, but to organize that, a day where we just say "fuck you," and we all just stay home, and then we open our homes to people who don't have homes. And that includes you, churches, because a lot of you have really big homes, and you don't house a lot of people in those. Considering your tax exempt status, I had to go out like a singer there. Anyway, um, I'm I'm going to spend mine with a dear friend, and have a lovely, quiet, delicious meal, and a lovely chat. And and then we'll part ways because she needs to get home earlier, which is fine. You know me, I'm like the meme and the meme of the. I've been telling friends this all week. I'm getting laughs from it, I should say. So I will labor this joke until no one continues to laugh. But there's the little meme of, it's probably from a children's book, of a little mouse in a wooden post bed with a patchwork quilt, and the home is like inside a log, of course. It has windows, little curtains. And so this little mouse in there has a tea and has a book and a candle beside it. And that is me. I say, well, as it gets dark, I'm just like, it reminds me of that. I'm going on and on, but I don't, be thankful. I'm thankful that I can speak as long as I want. It doesn't matter if you don't listen to any of it. I'm going to say it because I enjoy these memories, and being high helps me like remember these funny moments. But it's like that 30 Rock episode with Tina Fey's character. She starts dating that younger guy, and he's leaving her office, and he's like, "So I pick you up at 10," and she goes, "At night." And I felt seen. And she was in her 40s. Well, and like I said, since my divorce, I haven't been a big partier, and I never was. I mean, I did in my like teen years, but not, you know, nothing, nothing too crazy. I've never done any drug other than weed that I know of. I'm pretty sure. And alcohol, which of course is a drug. I will be imbibing all of this while my friend is here. I have to try this one drink at this one restaurant because I've been ogling the menu and it's out of this world. But they do also, and a lot of places are now offering overly priced, but still nice to offer spirit-free drinks, which my friend who was coming to dinner with us on Monday night, she will be having, even though she can't drink, she's going to try one this week. And who knows, maybe I will too. But I figure if I'm going to pay $14 for a spiritless drink, and I'm sure it's delightful, and actually what I would do is I was going to get those this time. I was going to get the THC drops, put that in my then I might pipe and smoke it. Put that in my spirit-free drink, and then it would act like a spirit-full drink, but it would be a Mary Jane. Really weird. This high is really nice now, but I don't know where I was going with this. Yeah, because this time of year, it's 5 o'clock. I had my tea and I'm snuggled into bed, and so so it's funny because it takes someone whom I love a lot. Well, and I can do this. This is very manageable. This is 2.5 days, and we both are at an age now where we're not rushing, and we don't need to see everything. First of all, I live here, and I've seen too much, to tell you the truth. And I'm sure you're like, not the museums and everything, but when I lived in Maryland, I saw museums all the time. And yes, I would like to get to the Met sometime. And I love museums, but I just don't have the time or energy because I have what we all know. And I prefer to be at home with Lily Bell, even if she has not come in once. She dissed me. I was dissed in the Malibu, and if anyone knows where that comes from, you're a friend. You're a friend for life if you know where that comes from. Dissed in the Malibu. I've been dissed in the Malibu by my increasingly absent CEO, the May. She can do whatever. She's still gonna get paid. Just like our politicians. But it's okay when she does nothing. Cat, not supposed to do anything. These fuckers. Yeah, and I'm talking to you too. Anyway, I feel um, grateful for this time off. This almost feels like, and we haven't even gotten to Thanksgiving. This kind of feels like I get two Thanksgivings. But yeah, and I get to see one of my favorite people, and then another favorite person gets to join us for one of our times out. And we'll take it easy and slow. And that is nothing out. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I realize on the sidewalks, I do walk fast because you shouldn't. New Yorkers walk fast on the sidewalk. So if you're not, you, when you're in traffic, you have to go along with that traffic. You have to go the speed the traffic is going. Now I understand, and I also get it too because I have a disability not recognized by our federal government, but I do have rheumatoid arthritis. And I understand that there are exceptions to this rule. Um, Having said that, my legs are better, even though my foot is wrecked, but my legs are better than my upper body. Less pain, except I'm starting to get pain in my left hip. And I don't know if it's because I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to deal with it right now. I think it might be from standing in one place too long. Even though I like standing better than sitting, it's better for my back. But now turning my hip, it's always something. Anyway, I wish you all love and peace and some solitude. Um, and just to be surrounded by anyone or anything that makes you feel that way. I hope that everyone has that every day, but especially on that day, this day. Okay, and let me get my hand on the thing. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Peace.